Hi, I have recently been trying to turn Bloodborne into a tabletop RPG, and I made a video about it. You should totally go and watch. After you watch this one, of course, unless you come back. This video, I will actually playtest the game I made, a little bit at least. I did some playtesting off the internet, basically, but only some stuff. So most of the stuff I put out there isn't actually playtested well or playtested at all. And I seek to remedy that with a new kind of series on this channel, so definitely subscribe. So basically, yeah, I will be making some characters and putting them in combat situations, and we will see how well I manage to balance the abilities of our characters and also the monsters they are facing. So let's start with the characters, shall we? First of all, we have the first hunter, German, who in this scenario starts at the lowest level. Let's say the starting level, level 10. The lowest level could of course be blood level 4 if he had chosen the Waste of Skin origin. But German, of course, instead is a professional who is very particularly knowledgeable in the arcane, particularly for starting classes, of course, and also quite skilled, but he suffers from low blood tinge and strength. He of course has some skill proficiencies, which are dodge, medicine, and perception. Not perception, I'm sorry, science, of course. These skill proficiencies, unlike in other games, do not provide a flat bonus to skill checks. They simply grant advantage on said skill checks. And the weapon he uses is mainly the Burial Blade, which has two modes, the curved sword in the untransformed state and the scythe in the transformed state, both of which are excellent weapons to cull larger groups of enemies. While using the scythe, German must use the scythe with both hands, so he can't use his offhand weapon, the blunderbuss. But he probably won't be using it anyways, as his blood tinge is very low, and he won't be doing much damage shooting a gun. And he is also not very good at parrying attacks, as also the parry skill requires blood tinge. Well then, moving on, our second character is Eileen the Crow. Also level 10 of course, as all characters are just starting out right now. Her origin is military veteran, and she which grants her proficiencies in dodge, intimidation, and athletics. And her highest attributes are skill and strength, but she desperately lacks in blood tinge and arcane. The weapon she uses, of course, is the iconic Blade of Mercy, who in the untransformed state deals 1d4 plus 2 slash or thrust damage. In the transformed state, that doesn't change, but the weapon must be wielded with two hands, and the weapon is much quicker. And consecutive attacks have a lower cooldown when used in the transformed state. She can technically also use her hunter pistol, at least if she is wielding the Blade of Mercy in the untransformed state, but again, her blood tinge is very low, so she has very little, drive to actually use her offhand weapon. The third hunter on this expedition is Gascoigne. He has had a violent past, is also level 10, and his highest stat is strength. Different from the first two, he also has increased vitality, which grants him an increased hit point maximum. His hit points are increased by 1d6, and I happen to have rolled a 5, so his maximum hit points are 15 instead of the 10 of Eileen and German. The weapon he uses is of course the Hunter Axe and the blunderbuss, and the same with Eileen and German, he probably won't be using the blunderbuss. The Hunter Axe deals a lot of damage. It has a D10 damage die in the untransformed state and a D12 in the transformed state, but quite high cooldowns, and if it is used with a charge attack, those gain additional features, mainly staggering the enemy, or dealing a staggering amount of damage if it is used with the extended axe. And our final hunter is Henrik, the old hunter. He's a compatriot of Gascoigne and suffers from the same violent past origin. He is also level 10, his highest attribute is strength, and his hit point maximum is also 15. That, however, coincidentally, I simply rolled a 5 on the additional HP die for him as well. The weapon he uses is, of course, the Saw Cleaver, which is a very good weapon when used against beasts specifically, and a pretty okay one when used against anything else. Kinda like in the game, I suppose. Transforming the Saw Cleaver grants it additional range and a slightly increased cooldown in the attacks. Same with Gascoigne. His proficient skills are dodge, intimidation, and resistance. And with all our hunters presented, or introduced, I should say, let's get into the gameplay. So, let's get into the actual gameplay. First of all, it is an ambush situation, and of course my characters will be rolling for perception, and German with the highest modifier actually comfortably succeeds. I think the DC was 5? Yes, it should have been 5. So, next up is initiative. Our characters roll pretty badly, to be honest. If you have no idea what is going on, I have to refer you to my first video on the rules of the actual game. In any case, in this game, initiative will give you a position on the timeline, and whatever action you take will push you further back in the timeline, and whoever is next in the timeline, well, gets to act. First in the timeline is a Yharnamite hunter, who will simply approach our heroes, or hunters, I guess, putting himself in a quite dangerous situation, actually. Next up will be Henrik, the old hunter Henrik, and he will be attacking with his Saw Cleaver. But as he rolled a 1, that attack will miss. If you are confused by that, this game doesn't really check if an attack hits with a separate roll. You simply roll your weapon die, and if you roll a 1, you miss. If you roll the highest possible result of your die, you land a hit, or you land a crit, and anything else is just a regular hit. So, in the meantime, German has sprinted ahead and going for the gunmen, and the torch-wielding Yharnamite hunter, torch and shield-wielding Yharnamite hunter, he will simply be waiting for anyone coming close, as his primary focus is protecting the gunmen. Here, just checking if German is in range to be shot by the gun-wielding Yharnamite, and he absolutely is, and the gun will hit him for 7 damage. Unless German dodges, which he comfortably manages with a 17. He needs a 10 to dodge the attacks. That being said, you can only dodge once per turn, so he won't be able to dodge for a little while. I do make a little mistake here though. I think I make this mistake quite a lot in this fight actually. Because I will forget pushing German back on the timeline. Technically you are supposed to be pushed back 3 ticks on the timeline when you dodge. Or parry for that matter. Next up is a Yharnamite huntsman in front of Henrik and Gascoigne, and he will land a hit on Henrik albeit not a very strong one, but Henry will dodge it anyways, so it doesn't matter. And same for him, I'm pretty sure I forget putting him back on the timeline. But hey, it's not like I've played the system that often, so give me a break. Also, it's quite difficult to handle 9 characters simultaneously. But not to worry. First action for the pitchfork-wielding Yarnamite. He will simply approach German. And then it's Henrik's action again, and we still haven't seen Eileen act. Yeah, she rolled really badly on her initiative, but hey, what can you do? Things like that happen. So, Henrik this time landing a hit with a saw cleaver. Not that great a roll, but better than missing, I guess. Next up is Gascoigne, who will, I believe, also attack the Yarnamite Huntsman that Henrik already wounded with his Hunter Axe, his untransformed Hunter Axe, and that roll is plenty to kill the first target and spilling first blood. Is spilling first blood the first kill, or is it just the first to get injured? Well, he gets the first kill anyways. So, as the Hunter Axe has a quite high possible damage roll, it is also a quite long cooldown until he can act again. Next up is Eileen, finally. And as there is no one in the vicinity she can comfortably reach, she will simply follow German to take on the gunman and his 2 protectors. The second axe and torch wielding Yarnamite approaches Henrik and Gascoigne, and he gets enraged to Henrik and can attack with his axe before any of them can act in retaliation, essentially, or run away. As Henrik has dodged before this turn, he has no choice but to take the hit with the axe from the Yarnamite. German has now approached the gunman and the shield and torch wielding Yarnamites. The plow wielding Yarnamite will try to poke him a little bit and fail miserably, to German's luck. Next up will be Henrik again, I believe. Yes, and for a second time he misses the attack. That shouldn't happen, but well, unlucky. Shit happens. Next up is Gascoigne. He of course will double up with the attack as soon as it is his turn, but first of all there's Eileen approaching. Then I was about to give German an attack, and then I realized, oh, there is a Yarnamite with a torch and shield who has been waiting to act for quite a while, so he will be getting his turn first. And he actually lands a pretty strong hit with the torch on German. Now the torch is only a D3 roll, so the 3 you see here is the maximum damage, but it cannot critically hit. The real feature of the torch is staggering an opponent. So German will be pushed back by 5 ticks. Soon. What am I doing here? I'm not sure. Oh yes, right. First I kinda messed up the initial HP. German went into the fight, so I had to kinda check and make sure the 3 HP he had was a mistake, which turned out to be the case. So yeah, he takes 3 damage, is at 7 now, and he is pushed back 5 ticks in the initiative roll. Then it's the gunman's turn, and he shoots his gun at German, and this time he fails to dodge, actually. taking another 4 damage, leaving him at only 3. And of course, even though he failed to dodge... Actually, I make a little bit of a mistake here. If you fail to dodge and take damage, you are supposed to take 1d4 additional instability damage. Oh boy! I am making a lot of blunders in this fight. But hey, I mean, that would probably be happening at a regular table as well, so that's what we're going with. The Gascoigne completely overkills his Yarnamite opponent with a critical strike with the Hunter Axe. Usually I would roll the damage die again, but as the opponent was already dead, I didn't deem it necessary. Next up will be the Torch and Shield wielding Hollow again, but this time the Torch hit misses. Now Henrik is going to reinforce his colleagues, and as 20 ticks have passed, a turn is over, so his dodge is resetted and he can dodge again. Eileen gets to conduct her first attack and promptly misses with the Blades of Mercy. Lucky for her, the attack doesn't have much cooldown, so she will be able to act again in the near future. Next up is the Pitchfork Yarnamite, and he scores a very strong hit on German, who dies from the hit as well. Now, as he died and returns to the Hunter's Dream, he will have to roll for Beasthood, and he does fail the check, so his permanent Beasthood increases by 1. Doesn't really have an effect on this fight, but we will see in the future what the effect of that Beasthood actually is. If you want to hear it before that, check my video on the full rules of the game, or check the rules in the description below. Anyways, Eileen gets another attack with her Blades of Mercy, and this time actually lands a crit, dealing in total 7 damage to her opponent, and is only pushed back 3 ticks. That is the special feature of her transformed Blades of Mercy. So she will get to attack very quickly again soon. But first, it's our gunman's turn. He will obviously try to shoot, as he pretty much doesn't have any other options available. And that gunshot isn't that strong, but it will hit, unless it is dodged, of course. And it will be dodged by Henrik with a very strong 20 on the skill check. So no danger to him here, but succeeding that well doesn't really do anything for him. Oh, and this time I actually remember that dodging is supposed to push you back on the timeline. Guess I am learning after all. And it's time for Eileen to attack again with the Blades of Mercy. 5 damage is plenty to kill her opponent, and she is only pushed back 2 ticks this time. The amount of ticks she is pushed back always decreases when continuously attacking with her transformed Blade of Mercy. She uses her next action to move forward, and the waiting Torch Shield Yarnamite takes his turn now as Eileen is approaching, and he will try to hit her with a torch, which would land if she weren't dodging the attack. Which she manages to do, but again, she won't be able to dodge again until the next turn. And she's also supposed to be pushed back, which I believe I forget again. Now Gascoigne is a good colleague and uses his beckoning bell to call back German from the Hunter's Dream, which takes 10 ticks, so half a turn, which is very long. And he also must not take damage in between the start and the end of the channeling. Eileen's turn again, and she attacks with a Blade of Mercy with an absolutely staggering 10 damage, which is the maximum the Blade of Mercy can do. Now the shield comes in as a mechanic, as the shield-wielding Hollow is able to reduce the damage of Eileen's attack by 3. And in the end, he doesn't die from her attack. Very nice. For him at least. Now Henrik, in a bit of a tough position, I think. Oh, wait. Ah, yes. Eileen is pushed back. Okay, I believe it is Henrik's turn now. Henrik is in a bit of a tough position, as he's too far away or, well, a step below his opponents, so he will use his next action to transform his attack, to transform his Saw Cleaver, which will give him additional range. Eileen misses her attack, and so does the torch-wielding Yarnamite. And then it gets dangerous again as the gun-wielding Yarnamite gets another shot off. And neither Eileen nor Henrik are able to dodge. Eileen, as she's standing closest, will take the 6 damage and 4 HP remain. But the gun-wielding Hollow is pushed back quite far on the timeline, as reloading the gun takes quite a lot of time, obviously. Henrik's turn next, and his Saw Cleaver attack lands, dealing 8 damage. And even if the shield-wielding Hollow Yarnamite were to block the full 4 damage, it would not be enough to stay alive, so he dies, and there's only 1 Yarnamite remaining. Eileen approaches, leaving some space for Henrik, and also gets to attack immediately after, dealing maximum damage with a critical hit with the Blades of Mercy again, killing the final Yarnamite. And with that, or the very next tick, Gehrman is called back from the Hunter's Dream, and the encounter is over. So that's about it for today. Let me know how you like this kind of video. And also let me know, would you like to see this series, and it will be sort of a series, would you like to see it live streamed? Would you like to see failed attempts at these scenarios where I notice the game isn't functioning quite as I wanted it to and made some changes? For example, before this scenario you just watched happened, I played this encounter before, and dodging used to be much easier. Too easy. So I changed it for this time. Would you like to see these sort of failed attempts where I make changes afterwards? Let me know in the comments. And also, of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future encounters, playtesting sessions, and maybe different TTRPG systems inspired by video games I may or may not be working on. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. You know you're on YouTube. You're used to it. And hopefully see you next time. Bye!